Hi friends, Kansi here from atop Serenity Hill, and today I'm going to show you how to make this junk journal. It is a hot sleeve for coffee junk journal, and it's meant to look like it is an actual cup of coffee. So it starts with one of these sleeves that you would get like at a coffee shop. I actually was sitting down having coffee with some friends and started pulling mine apart and realized, well, that could be this, a cover to a journal. And this got born. It has been requested from a few people in my membership that I share how I did this. It was a journal that I made for a happy mail that I send out. It's like a monthly-ish thing called Elements of Delight. You can read more about it below. And so I thought I would share with you how to make it. Okay, so first I'm going to do a little flip through of the one that I made originally. So the thing that happens with these coffee sleeves is the first thing I'm going to share is that sometimes, depending on which ones you get, they open and come apart, without ripping too much. This is a very thin one, and then this one is corrugated, which is more along the lines of what this one was. And when I pulled this one apart, you can see how it rips, which just adds to the whole junk journal vibe of it. But I covered mine up with a piece of Velcro. That's what covered up the messy part where you pulled it across. And I have a different idea today because this one ripped really widely, and so I have another idea of how to kind of like hide that a little bit. If you like it, you embrace it and go with it. Don't hide it. But I thought some people might want an idea of how to hide it. So it starts with a specific shape. Okay, so you can see that I had to fiddle with the fact that this one curves. So when you look at the shape of it, this is what the paper comes in the shape of in order to fit. So there is, for you, a template below that you can download and print out so that you have the shape, because it took me a while to get a shape to fit. It wasn't just like folding a piece of paper in half. So I didn't want you to struggle. So here you go. I'm hoping that it, universally fits, or at least gets you started on your template. So the cover, of course, is just a little bit thicker, which is some scrapbook cardstock. And then from there, I just put all kinds of junky papers inside, and not a lot of paper. There's only, with the cover, 5 sections or 5 full sheets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is the 5th, the center one. And I found that with adding, especially if you happen to love layers, more than 5 will not fit so well within this little cover because it's not super expandable. It's not meant to be. So this is what I played with for, a little while. This book paper, magazine paper, these are exactly the same quotes. That was a hilarious story that I was doing a video. I think the video was here, and I put the quote down and then realized I'd already put the quote. So I took it as a sign. The quote was actually needed twice. This was white paper on one side, and then just some, I want to say book paper, but it was like a form that was a printable form, this with the directions on the back, and then the front was white. And then the center of mine is a paper doily. Okay, so anything really can be fit in here. It just needs to have this kind of tilted shape to it in order to fit. You could have stuff that you don't have to make it so that it's so cut off on the tops. It could fall out of it and have the paper be, all different loose, ragged edges to it. You play with it and do what you want, what you want with it. I just want to show you how I put it together. And then we just finished off the other side. This has a little flip up. And then finally the back. Okay, so you have a lot of space. It's not a huge journal. I absolutely love small journals like this because they're not intimidating. You could use it as a travel journal or something that you keep with you, if you happen to have children always sitting in a pickup line or anything like that. It's small enough to finish and not overwhelm you, okay? And it could be a theme if you're really looking for something that you wanted a theme from. So I left a lot of the background with the brown. I did cover it a little bit because this one's from a local restaurant here, and then this one is another restaurant, but they just had it with this generic, wording on the back. So it just depends. Like, do you like that? Leave it. How do you like it? If the place that you get it from is a special place to you, then you might want to leave what is happening or the logos or the wording on the coffee cup. I also love the fact that mine says honey on it. That I, added honey to a coffee and they wrote it on it. So that was delightful. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First of all, you need your sleeve. I have my sleeve. If you're using, I would suggest just printing the template on some cardstock or some copy paper. And that way you can just cut one out. I have one. This is actually the one I made, used to make y'all's. And it's just, a piece of copy paper. But now I can put it onto anything and trace around it, and I would have a template for the page. The one thing I do want to point out, where is this? Is that this template, this is a little bit taller than the template I made y'all. The reason being is that I wanted you to fit 2 on a page if you needed to fit 8.5 by 11. So the difference is, this is the original template of this cup, and this size is what your template here, the printable one, is. So you can see it's a little bit, like maybe about 1/4 of an inch taller on both the top and the bottom. So feel free to play with it. Cut the template out and just draw bigger around it, or rip your paper around it, okay? The part that really can't get a different size is the length because of it fitting within the coffee sleeve. But the height of it, go crazy. You could make a really big, tall cup if that's what you wanted. But at least with this template, you have the angle at which you need to fit inside the coffee sleeve, all right? So that's the important part, is that you have the angle. From there, you can make it as high as you want, all right? So I did want to point that out. So get yourself, print the template, maybe cut one out. I also ran some this is printer paper, but it's scrapbook paper. It's just single-sided scrapbook paper through with the template. And that way I now have, I can just cut this out and I have 2 pages ready to go. All right. So that's another option. If you have a lot of 8.5 by 11 scrapbook paper, especially if it's double-sided, then you could just print the template out on the paper and cut it. So that was another reason why I made it 8.5 by 11, so that you would have that option. Okay. So some other things that I have gathered are, I have this white tissue paper. I believe it's from Dina Wakley and Ranger, that I thought would be kind of fun. I want to cover the outside of mine. So that was something I wanted to try. I have a coffee stained envelope that I'm going to cut. I've not cut it, so I have no idea if it's going to work or not, but it is about the size that I need. And I figured, why not cut it out and see what happens? I might be able to have pockets in this. So I'm trying things because I want you to try things as well. I grabbed a magazine, and it's an actual catalog, and I liked the background. I thought that could be kind of fun. So it fits, however I want to. Oops, there you go. Maybe sideways would be helpful. This fits the size. Again, don't forget, I can go taller. I just can't go longer, all right? And it might be kind of fun to see, where the people land, and if not, I can cover it. It's just, I'm taking junk and putting it into the journal, all right? I have a map. I'm going to pick a piece of the map. I thought that would be kind of fun. I have this ripped piece of coffee paper that's lined. And so I'm also going to try, I'm going to see about having the paper stick out a little wildly. Since I suggested it, maybe I can try that. We'll see. And then I have this paper that I printed from a friend who does amazing image transfer jelly prints. And I thought this might be fun for the cover. So on this one I used scrapbook paper, but this I had printed on a pretty heavy cardstock, and I love the eyes. So I'm going to use this as my cover. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out everything that I need. So this is already cut out. I'll see if I'm going to cut one of them out. I don't know if I want both. I think not, because again, 5 pages seems to be a good enough amount, especially if they are a little bit thicker. So bear that in mind. So let me go ahead. You don't need to watch me cut paper. So I'm going to cut stuff out and I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I decided against the map. The reason being is that as I was doing this, I realized I was kind of doing coffee and brown and a bit of red and some naturals. So the map didn't fit in. And also, I already have 5 and this is what I'm looking for. The one I haven't cut yet, I wanted to share. So I've cut the magazine. I cut the paper, which I had printed. Okay. I cut my cover, which is this way. So I have my cover. I cut the envelope, but I want to show you, I cut the bottom. I cut the sides and the bottom, so you can see it's open at the bottom, open at the side. But then I thought, well, why don't I fold it and see it's what this looks like sticking out of the journal. So I didn't cut it yet, and we're going to fold it and see how that is. And then I wanted to cut this with you. This is the one, again, where I was like, well, what if it's sticking out the top and the bottom? So it fits against this side. And this is, again, the outside is non-negotiable in that it has to fit in the journal, okay? So it has to fit lengthwise, but the up and down don't have to fit. So it needs to be folded here and here. And that should line these edges up. Yeah, it lines those edges up. Okay, so we're gonna see how this all comes together. So I'm gonna fold my envelope, leaving the top. Gonna fold my cover. Grab my bone folder here. Okay, so I've got my cover. I've got my, oh, I just realized something as this is printing. This is my original, and I just realized something, so this is something to share with you. When I printed this, it shrunk slightly because of how my printer is. Nope, it isn't. It's just how I cut it. I think it's just how I cut it. No, it did. I'm sorry. This is my original drawing. This is why I leave all this stuff in, y'all, in my videos, because this is what helps you. When I printed it, it printed it smaller because my printer shrunk it. So you are going to want to put your printer to whatever the biggest is. I did not pay attention to that. I probably hit like fit the page or shrink or whatever, and you want it to blast it as wide as possible on your page so that it goes as far to the edge as you can. So that's lesson learned, is that I have one that's printed and it's a little bit smaller than the other, than my original. No big deal. No big deal. Okay. Again, this is how I'm going to use, why am I using the word again so much? It's like, okay. Again, I will reiterate to you that this is a junk journal, and it doesn't have to be anything. It can be whatever you want it to be, all right? Let the pages hang out, let them spill out, let the coffee spill out. That's why I'm thinking that would be kind of fun. So we're gonna see how that works. So I've got my cover. I've got this in here. I'm now considering, do I want this to be my center? Which I might, because there is, whatever's in your center is a full page spread. Sorry, not quite in the thing. Whatever's your center is your full page spread. So you want to pick something that is exciting to you as a full page. I chose the paper doily as my full page. And, you know, because most of the time you can obviously do double page spreads across things that don't match. Of course you can. But the one in the center tends to be, you know, very obvious that it's a full page, is where I'm going with that. So maybe this. So let's stick this in. Fun, okay. I'm not going to rip yet. Let me take my cover. All right, that's where my cover is. Yeah, I like the bits out, but of course they can't look like this. They have to be more irregular. So I'm gonna let that spill out there. Let that spill out there. That's fun. So as I open it, I love that that's irregular. That's fun. And then this is my center. Do I have 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and 5 is my cover. So I just want to not have this be, I'm gonna rip this as well, I think. Okay, that's cool. Looks like everything's just spilling out of it a little bit. Like the coffee's pouring out of it. That's really fun. Okay, so I need to clamp this together. So how you can obviously do you. The way that I put this one together is I actually stapled it. I have a long arm stapler. I know not everyone has that. But I used a stapler to staple it closed. You can pamphlet stitch it if that's your jam. You like doing that. You could take it to your sewing machine and just run the sucker right through your sewing machine. Whatever works for you, you do, okay? You could even leave the pages loose if that's how your art journaling and junk journaling style is that this is going to hold it closed because we're going to Velcro it closed, so it's enclosed and it won't necessarily come out. But then you could take it and pull it apart and work on it one page at a time. All right, so you do you, people. All right, so the first thing I have to make sure is that everything is where I want it to be, so that I can then clamp it all together. Okay, and then I need to, you don't staple it on this side, so let's open. This is all stapled to the front one, okay? So that the rest of this is available to do what with you will. That makes total sense, doesn't it? To do what you will. You also, of course, have the ability to decorate the front and the back. Wow, I'm losing my words today. Should you choose to. I did not. I just let it stand as the image that was there. Okay. So I've got my paper all clamped. I want to make sure I've got my cover on where I want it to go. All looks good. And then this really only takes 2 staples. And I'm going to try and do this on camera. And so I'm all stapled. Okay. I'm not perfect because why would I be? That would be asking too much of me. But I also love that it didn't make it perfect because it shows you that, you know, it's a stapler. Let's get a grip. Sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't. But I love that this feels like a very contained cup of coffee. It has a lid, and this one is absolutely banana pants and it's spilling all over the place, and I love that. All right, and so then I've got all my pages. I can tape this up, which I probably will, so now I have a pocket. This is a very interesting page. I love that. I can cover that. This is now cattywampus because of the fact that the staple is off kilter, but who cares? And I love the way this looks against that. I'm interested to see where that's gonna go. All right, and then I have this sitting within this page. It's awesome. The people are really just almost inconsequential, so now I have this gorgeous background I can work with. Don't forget that just because you put a page in doesn't mean you have to cover it. If this page is absolutely delightful, like to me it's almost lines, I would almost get a quote and start putting it in between the trunks of the tree and call it good. You know, it's how it landed. I would probably, you know, maybe I'd put something here, or maybe the quote says something to people peeking out from a corner. I don't know. And then this is still, I'm going to tape it and I have a pocket, which is fabulous. And then you still have this. And if I wanted, I could decorate or use, you know, do something on the backs. I don't do anything on the inside of the corrugated. I love the way that looks, the natural part of it. But we do need to cover the outside. You don't need to, obviously. You can leave it how it is. I would like to cover it with some of this tissue paper. And I also need to figure out how I'm going to keep it closed. So with this one, again, I used a piece of Velcro. Okay, and that's how I glued it. The button, which is on upside down, by the way, hilarious, is inconsequential. It's just a decorative element, all right? So you could put whatever you want on it. But here was my thought. I want to see if what would I do to cover this if it bothered me and if it bothered you. So my thought was to actually make like a tab that covers this, and that way, let me cut a piece so that you can see what I'm talking about. I'm hoping this will be actually big enough. Well, big enough-ish. But to take a piece from here and fold it over and have like an extra tab that sticks out, and that would cover this, and it also gives you another place, an extra place to put the Velcro so that it's not so tight. It would, you could put the Velcro here and the tab would have some give to it. all right, is what I'm going with that. So the first thing I need to do is I want to put some of this tissue on here. Okay, so I have my tissue paper down, and then I also covered the corners with just some faux washi tape that I had made with, it's paper medical tape, and then I just ripped it off. I put it on a piece of book paper and then ripped it, and that's what came out. It's really kind of fun. And this is what it looks like. And that's what the back looks like. It loses its stickiness, hence the reason I had to put the glue. So, and it's possible I might, you know, start decorating it some more with some color. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. This piece is just making me, look at that. Oh, anyway. So the other thing I need to do with tape is I'm going to tape my envelope up. And I have a choice. I can use some of the brown tape that I made, or I taught a class recently at my local library where we made our own washi tape, and this was what one of my students made, and she graciously gave me part of it, and I'm like in love with it. So this is just another way of adding some bits and color to the journal to get it started as well. That way it's not just, when I get to it, it's just not, you know, coffee stained and I'm like, well, what do I do with it? The colors that I've added to the edges could start to inform what I'm doing. So, and I think I will use, getting on my tape, getting very stuck here. And then on the bottom, I think I might just stay with the same color. All right, so now I have, whoops, attached it to anything. So now I have a pocket, okay? So I got a little color, I've sealed up the bottom on the front and the back, and now I have a pocket that I can, I don't know, put a tag in or do something like that. Ooh, this is delightful. I feel like I want to add this is held down, by the way. It's on parchment paper, and if you're wondering what this is just regular cello tape. Sometimes the tape wasn't catching, like staying on the parchment paper, because it's meant not to grip it, but then it was rolling up, and that's what we were using as our base. So we put a little Scotch tape on the edges to hold it down for transporting. There. Oops. That just adds another, I'm not liking the white on white is why I'm adding this on. Why I'm layering up my washi tape is because I'm not, it needs more color to me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like the way that looks. All right, so now I have to decide what I want to use as a tag or a tab. So I have some of the inside, all right? I have some of this left over, which might seem a little jarring, and yet, I don't know. It will have a line through it, so I do have to pay attention to that. All right, so what I went looking for was something that would blend these colors together. This is one color of turquoise. This is a different color. This has more green, this has more blue in it. And then I have all my reds as my cover, and I have the coffee color, all right? So I wanted to see, did I have something in my stash that kind of tied all of it together? And I found this delightful piece that's left over from the junk journal I made in January. If you're interested in learning about a paper bag junk journal, that playlist will be below for you. So, but this would actually work really fun as a tab. So what I need to decide, and it's already folded, which, you know, I love. It's pulled up a little bit, but we can solve that problem by glue. Glue is always a thing. Or, I mean, I could put some washi tape. I don't know. We'll see. But what I need to know is how wide do I need the tab to be? So what I'm trying to do is cover this. Plus I want it to stick out ever so slightly. Kind of like in this vicinity. And then I still have this gorgeous paper left over because yummy. I probably have more than I need. That's fun. And then what I'm going to do after I glue it down is I'm going to change this white. I'm going to get some, either some watercolor or, I mean, I might have some coffee lying around, and coffee dye this so it's not so white. All right. Cool. I also have the ability to put a word here, or a charm, or a button, or a sticker, or whatever the next step, you know, as I go to decorate it. What would I do? What do I want to put here? And then because I don't need to cover, let's pull back in my original one. Cover, get my table cleaned off here. I put this really long piece of Velcro on this one because I was trying to fill in that section. Now that I've solved that problem, okay, with a decorative piece, I don't need that anymore. So I'm just going to use a Velcro dot. So I don't need a big honking piece of anything. And if you have clear Velcro dots, even better. I do not. I have these. And I can put it right on this, like in this section here. Usually, yeah. And these are sticky. So that's helpful. Depending on what you're putting them on, you might have to put a little glue. And I'm going to give myself, I'm not going to pull it too tight. I'm going to give myself just a smidge of give. Okay, you can see I left some give to it so that the journal has a little bit of space to expand if it needs to as I'm going. All right. So this is the original, it just had a button. And then I just grabbed a couple charms and some buttons that a friend gave me that are just gorgeous. Oh my God, I just love this button. Plus I could get really crazy, and actually I love this. Let's see what it would look like. I had a crazy idea about what if this was kind of, not sure if this is going to work, but anyway, I have this idea. I have these little brads. I'm going to try it, peeps. I'm going to try it. I'm going to grab a pokey tool. Nothing like trying stuff on the fly with y'all. Try not to poke myself. There you go. And it's a little bit on the movable. Ooh, sorry, it wasn't in the thing. I just poked the brad right through, okay? Which is not that obtrusive, which is lovely. And now I have this, and it moves. Oh, love it. Love it. And so I still have these little buttons that I can use on a different one. All right, so there you have it. A little junk journal. Here's my original, okay? And here's the newest one, done with a coffee sleeve, some spilling coffee out of pocket, a little bit of a catalog, coffee paper, a little bit of scrapbook paper. Nothing fancy, but it's cute. And I cannot wait to fill it up. All right, thanks friends. Let me know if you make yourself a hot sleeve coffee junk journal. If you're new here, please subscribe. I would love to have you along on the journey of my channel and my creative life. And if you enjoyed this, always give it a thumbs up. That's always helpful. And leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought about my coffee sleeve junk journal. All right. Thanks so much, friends. Talk soon.